What's up, everybody? It's waba, and I wanted to make a little video talking about the build that I'm currently playing. I know it's at the end of the Breach League. I kind of took a bit of a break, and I've been streaming recently, and this build has actually been surprisingly good defensively. Again, it's a work in progress, so I'm not sure if how well it's going to work out in the end game, but the damage component of this build is going to be a Voltaic Sparker. Just using a Wither Totem, poison damage, chaos damage. Pretty run-of-the-mill type of build right now, especially we have near the end of 2.5 coming up with 2.6. I understand it might not be a build of the future, but I'm hoping that the changes to double dipping don't necessarily gut poison, but maybe not make it nearly as effective, which could potentially hurt this build, but we'll see. But why I really wanted to talk about this video why I wanted to actually talk about this build was actually because it is using a mechanic that people don't really utilize anymore. And it's a Cloak of Defiance, and it's Mind Over Matter. Now, Mind Over Matter is still pretty popular with a lot of Eldritch Battery builds, but one of the drawbacks of using Mind Over Matter with Eldritch Battery is the fact that Mind Over Matter used to convert all your ES to mana. So if you ever took a direct hit that was chaos damage, it essentially made your ES effective against mana, at least to my understanding. So now with the new Eldritch Battery Mind Over Matter, I say new as in, it's been out for quite a while. Hasn't been nearly as popular as it used to be. But now if you take a direct hit of chaos damage, and emphasis on direct hit, I'm not talking about degens here, but if you take a direct hit of chaos damage, it will actually completely avoid your energy shield covering your mana pool, and it will go directly onto your life. I've actually had a death that was that this tied into heavily quite a while ago on a Shockwave Totem character in an Arsenal map where I had some chains of some Venom Spitters, and they just bounced off my totems, and I got hit with quite a bit of chaos damage, direct hit chaos damage, and it just went right through my energy shield. But how this relates to this build is that this is actually a mana-based Mind Over Matter character. Now, it's not, I don't think it's going to be nearly as much mana as previous versions of Mind Over Matter. I don't know quite yet how much mana I could expect having when I have all my gear in place, because I am actually kind of struggling with gear right now, but it is only because I'm not really selling anything. It's the end of the league. I haven't played all league. It's not at all because I wouldn't be able to do this at the start of the league. But let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. This is the passive tree. Now, you can use a Cloak of Defiance with this build, and if you use a Cloak of Defiance, you could path down to the Duelist region of the tree. That makes quite a bit of sense, because you're going to be able to grab Fury Bolts, Golem's Blood, and all these other nodes. There's quite a bit of life down here, a little bit of damage, and some mobility with Art of the Gladiator, allowing you to ignore movement penalties from armor. And then you grab some other things, exceptional performance, increased skill effect duration. This is, of course, a staple of most Spark builds. And you have quite a bit of jewel sockets. I have cut this down a little bit just to try to make it a little bit easier on the points, so you could actually, get to it. But I did also forget to mention that the other side, or the other potential thing you could do with this build, is instead of going down to the Duelist area of the tree and grabbing all these nodes, you could actually make your way up here and grab Mind Over Matter and get quick recovery, and start grabbing some nodes up here and grab more things throughout the tree. And it's just a little bit of flexibility. And the only reason why I bring this up is because I know that as of right now I am grabbing Cloak of Defiance, or I am using a Cloak of Defiance, but that's an item to use at the start of the league, while if you find yourself with quite a bit of currency, or if you get pretty lucky, you can easily get yourself a Kelm's Heart. And Kelm's Heart obviously would just cut down on your sockets, but that would be a lot of health, and you would still maintain your Mind Over Matter functionality. for the build. So wanted to throw that out there as well. The big thing is when you're using a Cloak of Defiance and you're combining it with Acrobatics, this also used to not work, because before, if you try to use a Mind Over Matter build, Eldritch Battery build with Acrobatics, it was you would cut your mana so hard because you cut out all your energy shield, and that exists in the current state as well. So this is something that, since we're not focusing on the energy shield, we're able to get the Acrobatics, we're able to get the dodge, which I think works out pretty well. And the tree looks pretty normal for what I'd say you'd expect a Spark build to look like, but this is where the unique things really come into the build. And I think this is actually a little bit more flexible than I may imagine, but as of right now, I am a Trickster build with Weave the Arcane and Patient Reaper, and I plan on going Shadeform. Now, Weave the Arcane, I apologize, this is an older version of the PoE skill tree offline planner, but Weave the Arcane, it gives you a chance to recover 10% of your max mana whenever you use a skill, 20% chance. So when you're spamming sparks, there's a lot of times you will just regenerate all the cost of it. And then Patient Reaper is increasing your already substantially high mana regen and life regen rates to the point where it feels pretty safe. As you get more life, as you get farther in the passive tree, and as you get more regen and more mana, and etc., Patient Reaper, I believe, will get better and better. Now, this Ascendancy isn't really damage oriented as much as it is defensively oriented, and I think that this has potential for being a good league starter, especially if you're able to get yourself a 5-link pretty early on a Voltaxic or either a Cloak of Defiance, both of which are pretty inexpensive items. So, and like I said, I think that with this build, you're realistically looking at something that may not do insane damage in the end game, especially in 2.6, but could potentially be a very strong league starter. Like I said, I'm trying to figure that out right now. That's what been doing on my stream. I've been streaming the past week and a half pretty consistently every night. But if you can manage this at the start of the league and you get yourself a 5-link, the damage should be pretty good to get you through level 90 pretty easily, because all you really need is a Wither Totem to make Voltaxic Spark work pretty well. And so yeah, I just kind of wanted to do a little quick breakdown of this build and talk about it. Some people have seen it on my stream. And again, it's a work in progress. I'm actually also using Mind of the Council, which is a unique evasion ES helm that makes it where you take 30% of your lightning damage is taken from your mana before your life. So it stacks with Mind Over Matter. So essentially 60% of the lightning damage I take is taken from mana before life. So, and that works out pretty well. And it also makes it to whenever you shock an enemy, you gain 3% of your maximum mana whenever you shock an enemy. And that helm also grants you 10% chance to shock. So while this build is not crit, you have an inherent 20% chance to shock between Mind of the Council and Voltaxic. Again, it's a work in progress. It's kind of using mechanics that people don't really look for anymore, and I think there's some pretty decent potential here. And just wanted to share it with you guys. Wanted to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. Want to see if anyone has actually kind of done something like this or seen this opportunity, because to me it seems like if you could regenerate your mana so much between Weave the Arcane, between all the regen you get out of Trickster, between Patient Reaper, and even with Minds of the Council, if you could regen your mana so much, it's almost as if you take 30% less damage when you're taking a lot of hits, which you wouldn't even really take that many hits because that layer of defense has dodge layered on top of it. And with the Trickster, you're going to have at least 45% chance to dodge attacks and at least 35% chance to dodge spells between phase acrobatics, and then ghost dance. So I understand I said those backwards, but you know what I mean. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Share this video if you like the idea, if you like the concept, if you like where I'm going, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You can catch me on my Twitch at twitch.tv/wabacha. I'm also going to be doing some videos for 2.6 build guides, and I'm going to be doing some 3.0 related videos because, I mean, seriously, 10 acts. Who doesn't want to play Path of Exile when it's 10 acts? So, thank you very much, guys. Have a good night, good day, wherever you are. See ya. No. Oh my god, no. Shadow Reckless. Act 6? 7? No! No! 10 acts? 6 new acts. A single playthrough.